Hello again. It's Darcy. I wanted to talk to you guys about getting back in the workplace after a mental health crisis. Um, a lot of people, when they get diagnosed, whether it be because of the doctor's information or the information that they look up, we tend to over dramatize how things are going to work out for us. And it's because we don't know. We have no idea. We've never been in this situation before where all of a sudden we're being told that we have a mental health issue. Usually, with a diagnosis, it comes with time off work. Um, and then the scary part is having to go back. And it is a really scary thing. Now, I want to explain it from both sides. As a person with a mental health issue, going back to a job can be really difficult because you feel very vulnerable. I know with me, I thought everybody knew, everybody was talking. Um, well, actually, I lost my job because of my diagnoses. I actually got hospitalized, and my employer decided to fire me, which was not cool. Um, but to be honest, I don't know if I would have gone back to that job anyways because of the amount of shame that I was carrying from being diagnosed and hospitalized. I didn't know if I could face those people again. So when I did eventually go back to work, um, I really hid that side of me. I didn't want people to know about it. I didn't want them to think that I was less of a person than I was. But this really ended up working against me for the simple fact that I was dealing with borderline personality disorder, which means I live um, relationships with people can be very tumultuous. I can 1 minute absolutely put someone on a pedestal and the next minute not even understand how they can be breathing the same air as me. And that's to the extreme, but that's letting you know, like, when you're living with a disorder that controls your moods, um, it's really hard to put yourself out there to the people that you work with because you don't want to be judged. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but the way that I look at that situation is if you got into a car accident and lost your leg, and then you go through recovery and you come back and you're wearing a prosthetic, okay? Would you hide that prosthetic in shame? Or would you just be maybe telling people, yeah, no, I can walk on my own again. I'm good. I just have to wear my prosthetic, and you know what? I'm 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 getting through this. Everything's going good. Well, for mental health issues, our prosthetic is the medication. But if for some reason our medication's not working right, or we didn't take it, because guys, admit it, there's days you miss your medication, it can really alter your mood. And then you go to work and they don't know about your health conditions. They're going to think you're kind of loopy. You can't keep people in the dark and expect them to understand who you are. So it's a personal choice, guys. But for me, I tell people I'm very open about the fact that I'm borderline personality disorder because I'm not ashamed of it. It's part of who I am. It's not something I chose, but I have to take medication and I have to do certain things to make sure I'm healthy. Why should I be ashamed of that? So yes, for me, I'm very open about it. I'm also an advocate though, so I advocate for mental health. So I have a very strong stand when it comes to mental health. A lot of people who are just entering into our community aren't so um, comfortable. And that's okay. If you don't feel comfortable telling people about your mental health, you don't have to. That's the other great thing. That's your choice. It doesn't matter what the condition is. Now, maybe talk to your doctor, see what they say. But for the most part, yeah, it's scary because you do have to put yourself out there, and chances are you do work with someone who's going to judge you. Okay, there's going to be someone out there who's like, oh, medication's stupid, you shouldn't be on it. Or you're going to have the person going, oh, there's nothing really wrong with you, everybody has a mental health issue these days. Yeah, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Ooh, there's my puppy. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but it's up to you to decide what you want to put out there. Me personally, I'd rather somebody argue with me about my illness, because then I can educate them, than keeping quiet and hearing things like, oh, you're insane and oh, you're crazy dropped all over the place because nobody realizes that there's somebody with a mental health issue standing right beside them. Trust me, that happens a lot. So, and those words are hurtful. They are. We may laugh them off, but they hurt. We may call ourselves it, but it's deflection. Um, so it's a personal stand with your workplace, okay? But for me, I think it's very beneficial to keep them in the loop. If I'm having a bad week, I can go to my boss and maybe not necessarily tell him that I can't do my work, but I can tell him that, you know what, maybe keep an eye on me a little bit, because if you see that I'm getting a little sassy, maybe remove me from the table. Like, keep them in the loop so that they all of a sudden aren't like, oh my God, she's losing her crap. What's going on? Well, at least now my boss knows that this is happening. And he can also become an advocate for me, because if he comes to me more than once a day saying, Darce, are you okay? I know there's something wrong. I know that I'm not presenting myself properly. And then I can kind of look back and be like, okay, what signs am I showing? What am I doing? Okay, this is what I need to do now, because people are starting to see that I'm struggling. So how do I deal with it? Um, it's not an easy thing, guys. It took me a lot of years to learn to be able to do it. But a lot of it has to do with trust, and it has to do with your level of being judged. Um, there's jerks out there, people. Okay, they're the trolls of the internet. They have to put everybody down. They have to make other people feel like crap. But the reason why they do that is because they feel like crap about themselves, and so that makes them feel better. And it's the same in the workplace. You're gonna have trolls in your work, in your school, wherever, in your family, who are gonna make you feel like crap because you decided to be honest about your mental health. But it's you that also has to be proud of yourself. You're not hiding anything from anyone. It's nothing to be ashamed of. What you're doing is letting them know that just in case something goes a little awry, they have a heads up. Because I know that if I had somebody who was type 1 diabetes working with me, I would rather know, because if they start going into insulin shock, I want to be able to help them. And it's the same with mental health, guys. If somebody is starting to go into mental distress, if they know what's wrong with you, they're going to be able to help you a lot better. Okay? So it's really going to depend on you. It's going to depend on if you want to be the advocate. It's going to depend if you want to fight, because sometimes you're going to have to fight people, not fight, but argue with people, for them to understand who and what you are. And even then, you're going to get people who are just not going to accept it. And you have to be okay with that. Okay? So, am I saying everyone should go and tell their bosses tomorrow and their parents and everyone else? No, that's a personal choice. I know for me, it made my life a lot easier. It made the type of support I was getting from people change to the type of support that was actually positive. I was able to articulate myself a lot better to people, and letting them know that it wasn't them I was upset with. It was just that I was having a bad day, that my illness was really working on me that day. And it takes a lot of the stress off. So I just want you to know that I know it's a scary thing, thinking about going back to work. You do it at your pace, okay? If you used to work full time, but you don't think you can do it anymore, then don't work full time, okay? You do what you think you can do. Not what other people think, but what you think you can do. If you want to jump right back in, try jumping right back in. But don't let the fear of the unknown stop you, okay? And that includes the fear of being judged. Don't let the fear of being judged stop you from being the best you, okay? Um, some people will understand, some people won't. Some jobs will understand, some won't. Um, that's just life, though, guys. And we have to be able to accept it for what it is. So I know that this wasn't necessarily a happy-go-lucky video, but it's the reality that I really want you guys to understand. If people can start voicing themselves and telling each other what they need in order to succeed, I think we're going to see a lot more success around the world because we're all going to be cheering for each other. So if you guys can maybe spread some love, spread some cheer, and some acceptance to those around you, it would be wonderful. And I hope that you take the time to maybe consider letting the people that you are close to at work know about it and see what they say. And I don't know. I'm hoping everything gets better from here and that we start normalizing mental health. Okay? You guys take care.